viewers, you are onto your favorite show, Inside Nigeria. In my hands are 5 Nigerian newspapers from which I'll be reading the major stories from. Permit me to start today's show with Nigeria's most influential newspaper, the Leadership newspaper. On Leadership this morning, the frontline story says, amid fresh terror alert by Canada, Australia, police say no imminent threats in Abuja, reassure residents. You can find details on this story on page 4. Heading down to the first bullet says, 3 days after UK issues second warning. Next bullet says, Jabi shopping mall shot. FCTA deploys 60 operational vehicles to security agencies. This is what we have on the front line of Leadership Friday publication. You can even hop onto our website www.leadership.ng to find these stories and even much more. We will head briskly onto the next Nigerian daily, and with me here is the Punch. And on the front line of the Punch, the list story says terror alert. FG detains 35 suspected ISWAP fighters. Tension heightens. The full story is on page 2. Moving down to the first bullet says UK issues fresh alert. IG releases emergency phone numbers, calls for vigilance. Next bullet says FCTA demolishes shanties. Jabi shopping mall shut. Other facilities tighten security. And the very last bullet on the Punch says Air Force to take delivery of additional fighter helicopters in December, says CAS. We head briskly on to the Nation. And on the Nation this morning, the list story says, terror alert, parties in a fix over call to halt campaigns. And the first bullet on the Nation says, UK cautions citizens against traveling to Abuja. Next bullet says, Akinyemi, NSA should warn politicians. Next bullet says, we won't stop our rally, says LP. Very last bullet says, APC, PDP, we are studying situation. That is what we have on the Nation this morning. And we move briskly on to the last publication before we hand over for the second part of the show. We'll be looking at the Daily Sun. The list on the Daily Sun says, Abuja, UK issues stay off alert to nationals. FCT tightens security. The one and only bullet we have on the Sun says, security operatives shot more. Thank you, viewers, for staying tuned for the first part of the show. The show is just starting because right in the studio, we already have Wilfred and her guest that will be doing justice to these stories and much more. My name is Tion Joseph. I will be back your way on Monday by 10 a.m. Until then, stay tuned.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Oh, hello there. You must have heard that leadership is for God and country. True. But it is also important to know we are for you right there in your corner when you need us. And this is how you know. Our coverage of youth and children's issue is so unbeatable. They even produced our special edition. When others walk away, we stay with the story. We don't just report the story, we help you find the path. We bring you some of the country's finest writers, Monday to Sunday. We ask the tough questions. We speak your language. Ina kwanan?
Lafiya lau.
Wani labari muke da shi yau?
Ina karanta labarin hirar da ake da Dr. Akin Baba Ahmed.
Da kyau. We bring style to life in Le Vogue magazine. We identify leaders before others recognize them. And the data is speaking for us. So if you're not in leadership, you're behind. Oh, hello there. You must have heard that leadership is for God and country. True. But it is also important to know we are for you right there in your corner when you need us. And this is how you know. Our coverage of youth and children's issue is so unbeatable. They even produced our special edition. When others walk away, we stay with the story. We don't just report the story, we help you find the path. We bring you some of the country's finest writers, Monday to Sunday. We ask the tough questions. We speak your language. Ina kwanan?
Lafiya lau.
Wani labari muke da shi yau?
Ina karanta labarin hirar da ake da Dr. Akin Baba Ahmed.
Da kyau. We bring style to life in Le Vogue magazine. We identify leaders before others recognize them. And the data is speaking for us. So if you're not in leadership, you're behind. Oh, hello there. You must have heard that leadership is for God and country. True. But it is also important to know we are for you right there in your corner when you need us. And this is how you know. Our coverage of youth and children's issue is so unbeatable. They even produced our special edition. When others walk away, we stay with the story. We don't just report the story, we help you find the path. We bring you some of the country's finest writers, Monday to Sunday. We ask the tough questions. We speak your language. Ina kwanan?
Lafiya lau.
Wani labari muke da shi yau?
Ina karanta labarin hirar da ake da Dr. Akin Baba Ahmed.
Da kyau. We bring style to life in Le Vogue magazine. We identify leaders before others recognize them. And the data is speaking for us. So if you're not in leadership, you're behind.
Inside Nigeria, keeping you informed on what matters.
Good morning and welcome to the first segment of Inside Nigeria, which is Leadership Television. With me in the studio is our runaway political analyst,
Yes.
commentator,
I want,
Majid Dani.
I want
You've been missing.
without leave.
Yes, it's so nice to have you.
Thank
You're
you
looking
very
nice.
Thank you very much.
Yes, you are welcome once again. My name is Winifred Beba. I have some papers on our menu today for review, talking about Nigeria's most influential newspaper, THISDAY, the Nation, the Punch, the Sun newspaper, and Daily Independent. And incidentally, most papers are on security matters this Friday. Let's start off with leadership. Amid fresh terror alert by Canada, Australia, police say no imminent threats in Abuja, reassure residents. Amid fresh terror alert by Canada, Australia, police say no imminent threats in Abuja, reassure residents. 3 days after UK issues second warning, Jabi shopping mall shut. FCTA deploys 60 operational vehicles to security agencies. Let's go over to the punch. Punch, terror alert. Federal government detains 35 suspected ISWAP fighters. Tension heightens. Terror alert. Federal government detains 35 suspected ISWAP fighters. Tension heightens. UK issues fresh alert. IG releases emergency phone numbers. Calls for vigilance. FCTA demolishes shanties. Jabi shopping mall shut. Other facilities tighten security. Air Force to take delivery of additional fighter helicopters in December. Yes. Now, from the punch, let's see what the nation has on the issue. The nation says terror alert parties in a fix over call to vote campaigns. Parties in a fix over call to vote campaigns. UK cautions citizens against traveling to Abuja. Akiyemi, NSA should warn politicians. We won't stop our rallies, says LP Labour Party. APC, PDP, we are studying situation. Terror alert parties in a fix over call to vote campaigns. From the nation, let's go over to Daily Sun. Daily Sun newspaper. Abuja, UK issues state of alert to nationals. FCT tightening security. Security operatives shot more. Mm. Papers are awash with security issues.
Yes, it's a serious issue, very serious issue, and something that both governments and must take very, very seriously. I do not believe that this is the first alarm by diplomatic entities in Nigeria, the US, the UK, and Australia. I believe they have very credible intelligence at their disposal, which may have informed the alerts that were issued throughout the week, not one, not two, but several. And we've seen evacuation of their members of
Yes.
diplomatic corps, but and their families back to their countries. And so it's something that tells us that probably they have
Yes.
something very credible about the situation. And this should be hardly surprising to everybody because Nigeria is actually a war country.
Mm.
Nigeria is a country that has been at war with itself on several fronts. And so it is not something that should surprise anybody that Abuja will may come under attack by terror element. It has happened before. It has happened severally. In fact, the last time we saw this was when they came as close as Buhari and where they succeeded, unfortunately, in laying ambush for officers and men of the Brigade of Guards. And so, even though we saw an improved security response measure, which apparently beat back the terrorists and prevented them from encircling the Federal Capital Territory by taking the port, it is a possibility that some of these terror elements have devised means to infiltrate and break the security cordon and have been put in place following the attack in Buhari. And so what we need to do at this point is for the government to simply take this security alert very, very seriously by upping the game of both surveillance and information gathering and putting in place security measures to prevent what has been foretold. And so when you have such a terror alert, it's just to prevent it. It's not saying somebody's trying to scare people. No. It's for you to take it and then prevent. And I think to some extent, that's part of what the government is saying by saying, okay, maybe it's not so true. And
That's
people should
what
be
I wanted
calm.
to ask you. Why is government playing denial game?
Yeah, I think the Minister of Information was hasty to have come out to denounce the terror alert warning that was given by the US Embassy and other
Mm.
allied nations. In fact, it is important to note that the US, the UK, and some of these other countries
Mm.
are actually friendly nations with Nigeria, and they share a lot of intelligence with Nigeria.
Yes.
As to why they went public with information, I wouldn't blame them. You may not be able to know how many of such intelligence they may have supplied to the government, and actions are not taken on some of these actionable intelligence, and so they are trying to now alert their own citizens. And nothing prevents Nigerians too from alerting their own citizens in the US of imminent mass shooting, as is the case in that jurisdiction. So there's nothing wrong with the US. You should alert your citizens to say, look, you need to be careful and you need to evacuate if you need to. So what you should take from it is with the reality of the kind of crisis that Nigeria has faced, it should hardly come as a surprise. Because ISWAP is doing everything, for example, to actually supplant our civilization, to supplant our constitutional democratic order and replace it with their own brand of an Islamic state. And it is a war that they're ready to fight it on the finish, except the Nigerian state becomes very resilient and beat back this very virulent terror organization. So, to put it simply, the terror alert was actually about the initial protect and imminent threat. But I'm happy that it seems that while the government might be putting up a bold face and grandstanding, I think they're taking certain measures to prevent this from happening. Yes, there are military exercises taking place across the country as we speak, particularly in and around the FCT.
But Majid, how did we get to this level? What is it about the issue of intelligence gathering that
Yes.
the US has to come out publicly to the citizens? But one would have expected that issue of gathering intelligence, you act on it.
The truth
Why is
is,
that
there's
okay?
there's
They gather intelligence and they not act on it.
Nigeria's,
Despite just like them.
Nigeria's crisis of insecurity hardly requires any high-tech intelligence. It's an open affair. I mean, ISWAP has held out armed forces in the northeast. But as long as you can remember, killer herdsmen are on the way. You have oil terms interconnected piracy of the coast, the Gulf of Guinea. And so Nigeria is a country that has multi-faceted security challenges that are manifested in terror theaters across the country. And so we don't need the intelligence to know that somebody might attempt to take Abuja, because once Abuja falls to any of the terrorist groups, that is over. Because that means the command and control center of the country has been taken over by terrorists. And we've observed that there has been a convergence between terrorists operating in the northeast and activities of killer headsmen
Yes.
in the northwest and north central. It was that collaboration that resulted into the successful hijacking of the Abuja Kaduna train. And billions of naira were actually shelled out by victims to get their loved ones out from the abductors. And so that may have, reinforced their financial arsenal to also grow and enhance the military capabilities to confront the Nigerian state. So only God knows the amount of weaponry that they would have been able to buy and procured with this very humongous amount of money that they get from, what do you call it again? Ransom, kidnapping, transporting across the country. So we are faced with a very serious situation. So it's hardly a surprise that they will attempt to take up their from, but that is the ultimate aim. They have an aim to supplant the current order with their own brand of it. That's something that we must look up to. And talking about how there is a clear case of compromise with it, either deliberate or out of sheer ignorance, or a combination of both. I say this because It was revealed that there were about 44 intelligence reports about an imminent attack on the Kuje detention facility.
Yes.
Yet it happened
Yes.
successfully, clinically.
Absolutely.
Nobody has happened.
Nobody has lost his job.
So that means sometimes not enough to have intelligence. There are certain encumbrances within the system that prevents the government from acting on this intelligence. And so the US authorities, as well as the UK and other allied nations, will not be faulted if they now decide to go public with their own findings, particularly as concerning their citizens.
Yes.
So this terror alert is especially for the citizens. But when somebody is alerting his own citizen in your country, there is an imminent attack, you're supposed to actually take
Take it serious.
and take a cue from that. And so we hope that ongoing operations that are in place now will yield fruit. And that's why I'm happy with what the Punch is reporting that about 35 members of Israel have been arrested. But this is really the problem in Israel, such operations. It is high time the Nigerians are told who are the people behind you. These 35 people have been arrested need to see their names, their faces, their identities. You know why? So that we now begin as public spirited citizens to connect the dots, cross the T's, and begin to understand the extent of the terror network. We need to know them. This secrecy around terror suspects is unhelpful.
Exactly. And you just made me to remember the UAE. You know, they did publish.
They publish some names, and the Nigerian state has refused to tell us this.
Exactly.
It is high time we knew you cannot continue. This is not the way to fight terrorism. When the Twin Tower in New York was attacked in 2001, September 11th, what's now known as the 9/11 attacks, within a few hours, the identities of the suspects were unraveled, down to their ethnicities, their race, their religion, their nation of origin, and a motive was not adduced to the attack, has been a religiously motivated one by Al-Qaeda elements. And the US government has not put in place since that time to the measures to prevent any occurrence. And it has not been called on that scale anymore for over 20 years now.
Yes.
This is how you fight terrorism. So the UA authorities were right when they published and exposed the identities of those they accused of funding terrorism. Why is the Nigerian state preventing their full identity from coming to the public? Why? What is wrong? Whose interests are they trying to protect? If we can have the full identities of IPOP elements, and some of them being brought in from all over the world, why is it difficult for the government to come back clean on this matter? So we need to say, come back, people to play with an issue that will encourage this country. And when we get to that point of no return, it will be difficult to Nigeria might give way. So there's an urgency, a security urgency now for this government to come out clean and forthright for once. You know, enough of national security on the altar of religion, ethnicity, and all of that sentimental concentrations. This is what has exacerbated the security challenges in Nigeria over time. We need the government to come. This is a very serious issue for the US to evacuate its own staff and the families. Tells you there's something that they know, and they are sure of what they know. This is a superpower country. They are one of the most advanced countries when it comes to intelligence gathering. They know these things. And they've been our strategic partners in terms of combating crime, criminality, and terrorism over time. They're a friendly country. They're not a hostile country, not an adversary. So what the government needs to do is to engage with the authorities to find out what it is that they really have and action it. It's called actionable intelligence. But you need to first admit that there's a problem. And then you humble yourself to find out what the problem is. And then you action it adequately. But beyond this emergency and knee-jerk approach, it is high time to found a holistic solution to our security challenges. We cannot continue with this issue piecemeal. It is not working. You cannot be patching roofs and hoping that rains will enter and soak the house. No, you have to actually remove the entire house. This problem has existed for too long.
It has.
we need to get serious as a people and as a government. And the government must take charge, must take the lead. However, it's commendable that they have, despite the fact that
They are living in denial.
trying to politicize national security, but they don't to politicize it. If the US has been giving them intelligence and they're working on that, I'm sure they won't have gone public with this. But knowing the kind of country that they're operating in, they need to go public for the sake of their own citizens. And they made adequate provision to evacuate them. How many of such alerts have Nigerian authorities across the board given to the citizens in those countries? That's the constitution we should have. I'm not faulting the US for going public to embarrass the government. There's no embarrassment here. Nigeria is at war with itself. We have more than 34 armed groups operating across the country in organized manner. And so you should know that for a group like ISWAP, the ultimate aim is for the Nigerian state to fall under its control. And the easiest way to hasten up that fall is to occupy FCT and render the entire system impotent from the very top. So if you have fighting at your doorstep in the seat of power, be rest assured that the rest of the country would naturally have fallen down, would have fallen into their control by default. And so that's what they want to do, the strategic move they want to take, so that they will have that final push once and for all. So you now have a situation where you may now be forced to sit down with a federal group like this one to now begin to decide the future of Nigeria, including the division of the territory between what is now the authentic government and the rogue terrorist regime like Israel. We must not allow this to happen. Nigeria is too big. Nigeria has come a long way. Nigeria is too precious to us. Some of us don't have any other place to go to. And this is what we must come to. We should going to wake up, but lethargy. Wake up and quickly do the next. Let me add this. Nigeria will have been flood in the last couple of weeks across the country. People have died. Whole communities are submerged underwater. It took the intervention of an aspirant, or rather a candidate, to put another candidate to say, okay, can we suspend our campaigns for a few days and go into these communities to show concern? I would think across particular lines doing the same thing. Our president tried to put the country at a period that this country was suffering from excessive flooding, an unprecedented level of flooding since 2012. Neither did he address the country, nor did he visit any of the flood sites. Rather, he went to South Korea to attend a summit. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. The South Korean people and other people that are gathered, they were not expecting a president of a country. This country is not going to, they were not expecting him. Because no country, no serious country's government or leadership, we leave domestic issues and go to attend any summit anywhere. It's a wasteful journey, has no impact, and it shows a high level of responsibility on the part of the highest authority in the land. And when this terror alert took in, if you know why he was still there, one would have expected him to cut short his trip, return home, and then address this country once and for all, and give the final marching order. But this is an embarrassment for the US, the UK, Australia, no matter how you want to say it, to insist on their terror alert, insist on it, shut down operations, and evacuate their citizens. It's an embarrassment. Even if it was intended to embarrass you, it is an embarrassment. We should have seen the president addressing this country since this terror alert came on, address the country and give the final order for a final solution to this problem. We don't see that urgency in our president. I saw him arrive yesterday at the airport, and just ceremonies accompanied his arrival. People line up here and there to welcome him warmly with smiles and back slapping. It doesn't show a leadership of a country that is distressed from both natural disaster and man-made disaster for security. It's disturbing. It's disheartening. It is really disheartening.
And you know, there seems to be a disconnect between these intelligence gathering and security agencies and the president, because prior to this security alert by U.S. Embassy, the president has used various fora to tell a country that the security-wise, the country is better for it now, that we all are living of peace. And of course, this comes as a slap on the face for this U.S. Embassy to issue this security alert. You see a disconnect between the president and the security agency.
You say it's a disconnect.
He's not
Is
aware.
to,
He
is to,
doesn't
is to,
get
is to understate
intelligence
is
reports.
to understate the problem. It is not just a disconnect with the security agencies and intelligence gathering communities.
Because few weeks prior has been telling Nigerians
It's a
and even go that, oh,
disconnect. It's a
Nigeria is better
disconnect with the
security wise.
reality. It's a disconnect between the leaders and the led. It's a disconnect between government and citizens. And this level of disconnection is not good for any country. It is not good for Nigeria. It simply tells of an absentee leadership. And that is why Nigeria is failing on all fronts, economy-wise, security-wise, the war on corruption, social cohesion, national unity. There's a breakdown of the very fabric of what should bind us ordinarily as a united nation. It is steadily collapsing under the absentee leadership of President Muhammadu Buhari. And you begin to ask, how long are we going to allow this to happen, to persist? So for a president to thump his chest and claim that he has resolved Nigeria's security problems and is living it better than he met it, it's not only inconsiderate, it is insensitive, and it is also a collective assault on our sensibilities as Nigerians who have been victims of a incompetent leadership, particularly in the discharge of the responsibility as the commander-in-chief who's supposed to protect lives and properties. And so, if he cannot do better results, let him simply spare us the trauma of reminding us, of emphasizing, of putting it to us rudely in our face that his worst is the best we can get in terms of leadership. It is not the best. Nigeria was better than this when he came in. Nigeria can be better. And so, ordinarily, all over the world, when a political leadership fails to deliver, they apologize in the list. If you want to resign and go, you apologize, you acknowledge. The party will take responsibility for failure and pledge to do better. But we've seen an arrogance of failure where they are trying to make us understand and look, this failure is the biggest success that you can ever get. That is, there's a ceiling of failure on Nigeria's aspiration for success. It is a tragedy. And that tragedy is what you are seeing unfolding, that Abuja has not constantly come under threat. They were quick to remind that it happened in 2010 and 2014. But they forget something. The Boko Haram took Nigeria by surprise. Until the first bomb took place in Abuja, at the UN building, I think the police headquarters. Nigeria, is it Emma Bombay, Emma Banix area? Nigerians never contemplated that it was possible in Nigeria to commit suicide, let alone suicide bombing. So it took Nigeria by surprise. We saw emergency measures in place quickly. So security measures, barricades everywhere. Security guards were appointed before my life. That was the first time I was cameras to check for explosive and all of that. We saw measures in place. And the bombings in Abuja stopped until it happened in Nyanya. And our president went there physically to commiserate with the victims. And that was the last bombing we saw in Abuja, 2014. So you can count more bombings in Abuja. What we've seen is that Boko Haram changed their tactics, their rules of engagement. They realized that we are fighting on many fronts at the same time. So they concentrated in the Northeast, where they sucked in our officers and men of the armed forces. And they are decimating us from that one theater of war incrementally. So if this government is sincere with itself, it will admit that we will receive severe setbacks in the Northeast, such as we've not seen before, not even during the Civil War. Not even during the Civil War. And so it's a change of tactics. So much should turn his or her chest that Abuja is now safe. No, Abuja is no longer safe because other forms of criminalities and terrorism are on the rise in Abuja. And it's environment. Never was it on record in the past administration for a soldier, particularly for an officer or a soldier from the Allied Brigade of Guards to be killed by terrorists in Abuja. It didn't happen. It didn't. And so what ISWAP has done is they have consolidated in their base in the Northeast. They infiltrated the communities. They are embedded. And they are making a steady attempt now to take the capital city. So this is not the time to trump anybody's chest. It's not the time to click glasses and drink champagne. It is time for work. The job is not over. You were elected to make it better, not to come and compare the bad situation with the worst of the world. That was not why you were elected. That is not democracy. We have seen what happened in the UK just in 45 days. It wasn't because Liz Truss didn't fulfill her campaign promises. She fulfilled it 100%. But an aspect of it, the issue of cutting taxes, had an effect that was not envisaged by Kwasi Kwarteng as Chancellor of the Exchequer. In that, yes, you cut taxation as to allow businesses to breathe under the yoke of energy crisis and rising cost of living. Fantastic. That would have saved jobs. That would have retained revenues for companies to use to employ more people. Fantastic idea. But when they cut taxes for a country that is heavily dependent on taxation, it affected interest rates. So there was a rise in interest rates, which also now impacted inflation negatively. So there was rise in inflation at the same time, rise in mortgage, cost of mortgages. So it created a bit of its own problem. It was that one, that this side effect of a medication that was supposed to cure another ailment that she's being punished for. That is democracy. And she willingly, honorably, let go. And then I said, okay, so the person who had a better idea, who saw the need to delay tax cuts until a later date, Rishi Sunak, an idea that wasn't bought initially. So since you want to throw the part of Rishi Sunak, okay, allow Rishi Sunak to come and now do it. She resigned and he has come in. And Rishi has been on the hot seat a day after he became prime minister. On Tuesday, by Wednesday, he was in the parliament facing his colleagues in the question and answer session. It was heated. He has hit the ground running. His cabinet was ready same day he became prime minister. Same day. And they have started scrutinizing his rule yesterday. And if he doesn't perform, just like Mr. Truss, he's going to be leave. And for the UK people will go for general election ahead of even the scheduled time. That is democracy. You cannot have ruled the country 7 years and left it worse off in that 7 years and still insist you have succeeded. It is not right. It is not honorable, and it has nothing to do with integrity. In fact, it shows anything but integrity.
Wow, thank you so much, Majid. We still have two other papers to look into on the program Inside Nigeria. Let's look at Daily, Independent, and THISDAY. Coincidentally, both of them have the same almost cover story today. THISDAY newspaper. Hails CBN's plans to redesign Naira notes. Says only intending both buyers, beneficiaries of proceeds of crime will kick against move. Again, EFCC chair welcomes initiative, insists people holding Naira to speculate on foreign exchange. Ex-president of Accent backs Invest Bank. Declares policy needed to address alarming volume of currency outside banking system. Let's see Daily Independent. Daily Independent. Illegitimate funds won't be used in 2023 elections. Illegitimate funds will be used in 2023 elections, EFCC promises to partner INEC in curbing vote buying. Yes, many Nigerians have received this CBN's policy of redesigning now with mixed feelings, considering the fact that it's just about how many months to the general elections, 2023 elections. So what does it portend?
If we're thinking there should be no mixed feelings about this.
Okay.
This is completely unnecessary, counterproductive, unwarranted, and unnecessary costs that will further burden us as a country, as well as a country that does not have the funds to even service your debts. What we are not looking at is at what cost will this be to the government?
Because they are going to borrow to print it.
It is unnecessary. And there is nothing that can convince me that this has any of the benefit to it. Because one, when you say you want to do this for security, for example, you are giving advance warnings to the criminals to find ingenious ways to redeem their monies, even if
People if speculate, go and buy foreign
Let me
exchange
tell
with their
you,
money.
there's something I want to tell you today. One of the victims of the Kaduna Abuja happens to be a family friend of mine. In their own case, when they gathered the ransom money and they took it to the negotiator, he told them that we don't collect naira. Yes, I'll say this on air. And directed them to a particular bureau change in Abuja from Kaduna that they should come and change the money and then bring it back in dollars. You think any criminal will accept naira in cash? How? In that volume, 100 million naira in cash? No. With the disparity in foreign exchange regimes between official and so-called parallel market, anybody who has any substantial amount of naira now, the safest thing to do is to convert it to dollars. So what this is going to be is that it's going to drive naira down the road to hell if this wrong-headed policy is not reversed immediately now. It's not halted. This is a panic measure that will send people who have this money to the parallel market to go and harvest dollars. And because you have scarcity of dollars, another high value foreign currencies, it's going to drive naira down because you have too many naira in too few hands. This is the issue. This money they're talking about is in the hands of very few people that are privileged, the friends of government that are big contractors.
Politicians.
It is not in the hands of the common man, not in my hands, not in your hands, but everybody's hands. So these people that have this money, even if they have it in naira, which I doubt, because nobody keeps naira in at all anymore, they will just simply match to some phone and change it into dollars. So the money you thought is in circulation. The blue changers will buy it. You buy it to take for naira. And simply put it in the and the bidders continue as usual. It's a continuous train of speculation. Now, on the issue of the economy, I don't see how this is going to impact positively on it. I don't understand.
And we just few months
Our
to go
problem
to the end of
is
the
energy security that we do not have. Cost of diesel, cost of PMS, cost of power, and unavailability in most cases. That is driving our productive sector down the road to hell as well. So I don't understand why you will not solve this problem. I think currency change, it can solve it. Now, talking about political parties, it's laughable that people that are in power, that are actually the biggest spender when it comes to election, I don't start trying to convince me that this is their measure, is to curtail spending. How are they going to believe that? How? If that is the case, it won't happen. They won't do it. So I think somebody wants to just give contracts for this as a parting gift in this administration.
Yes, I've heard insinuations too to that effect.
So they need to tell us the cost. What will be the cost? Has been appointed at the security meeting and I don't expect anything beyond that. But what is the cost of this change? And do we need it? Is that what we need now? No. People should stop rationalizing what is not rationalizable. There's nothing to this policy that is in the favor of anybody. Let's stop deceiving ourselves. Look, all over the world, countries change the features in their currency routine. It's routine. How? Simple. You can go to the bank today and you spot, okay, there's an imminent change in certain security features. It helps to fight counterfeiting.
Yes, counterfeiting.
It helps in some certain kind of security issues. Okay, maybe they feel that somebody's stashing away too much, but they want to pour back into the system. It's done routinely, not in this point. And there's nobody tells you the reason why. Simply return your own notes. We have changed the color again. This happens. It's a routine thing. So there's no panic. Nobody's afraid. But you've already told us the reason you are doing it. So the bad guys that have this money, if at all it is true, they will take measures.
By January 30th or
so they have enough time to buy dollars and keep. Are you going to prepare to buy dollars now because of this? Or how? But I'm telling you that most people don't even keep naira in their homes anymore. They keep it in dollars. That's why Nigeria currency that is called the naira will continuously be shared against dollar because our economy is dollarized. During primaries, dollars they didn't share naira. As we speak, the preparation for election, if they were shared in dollars. In 2019 election, dollars were shared. In 2015, the same thing. Then they come and come up with the report that showed how the ruling party shared a lot of dollars. Yes. So who is sharing that election anymore? The naira that you see them sharing, plus the little that they will share for vote buying on election day, which is very, very, very minute. The real money that goes to the brokers, that goes to bribing security agents, that goes to bribing all stakeholders in the election to have a predetermined outcome, is done in dollars. Dollars. Yes. Now, let me tell you the flip side of this, that people are not looking at. I come from a community in my village. We are in some part of my village. the shortest distance between certain villages or communities in my village and the nearest bank is not less than 30 kilometers. Now, this is where the problem is going to start. So, I think those villagers whose entire income is not more than maybe 20 or 25,000 savings to travel this long distance to banks, queue up, just to pay it in and get new notes. Have you considered the impact of that on the lives of our people in the villages? Even in the cities here, for example, artisans, people that are struggling to survive, people that don't have money, people that are impoverished, hoodlums, the hoodlums we've created because of bad governance, they will now need to go and change their little savings into. Have you thought about the chaos it will cause in financial services centers in this country across board? This government has to be very careful. Don't add to the hassle of Nigerians so that something unpalatable does not happen. Please, I don't know. People should be thinking. We don't need any more of this.
And why are people not thinking in
people
this
don't think any longer.
Like,
you see, there's
so much money in circulation.
Worthless money that is of no value. So the money infrastructure we're talking about is in the hands of a few privileged people who the government, not minimum wage earners. What's money talking about? Your salary in Nigeria cannot take you more than a week. So where is the money talking about? Most people that are salary earners by this time of the month are all expected and allowed into the account. So their money are even computed in the bank, but then they pay their bills. You are left with nothing. So who told you that this money is in anybody's hands? No, it's in the hands of a very few people. If indeed their money is out there, it's in the hands of a very few people. Most of them have been converted to fiat currencies. Yes. And the Bureau change operators maintain accounts where they pay this money. Because usually if you go to Bureau change, large whatever transaction, they pay to pay to the account. So these monies are actually in the system, contrary to the claim that's so to me, it is the contract. So I want to ask for the cost. What is the contract cost for these people? You want to know. And let us know if it's a priority at this time. People are not taking at all. People are no longer able to think. You see, when you are unable to pick up the box and take people and say, but what line of that to you? This is the problem we're going to face. It's the problem we're going to face.
So with this time they've given, lapse they've given, about 2 months now. So what is going to be the effect, the impact if Nigerians don't pick up?
First, they will think in terms of currency speculation because people now will not be converting their naira into dollars. As I yesterday, in the parallel market, just after 24 hours of the announcement, the naira has fallen to as low as 681 naira to the dollar. Meaning we are very close to 1,000 naira. Because the more people pumping naira for just the few dollars available, it will push the price of it's a simple law of demand and supply. When supply is far less than demand, when demand is excess of supply, the price will go up. It's a natural thing. And particularly for the dollar, Nigerians are import dependent. People live their lives on importation mostly. People have bills to pay overseas and all of that. People will be converting their naira now into dollars because of value. It now becomes a medium of storage of value. That's what it has become. So this is going to aggravate that situation very much. If I have that kind of money, I'll collect $2 as well. I won't take it into my naira account.
That is not what I do.
Because no, if I have that kind of money, if I'm privileged to have that kind of money, I don't have any, but I wish I had that kind of money. I will simply go and buy dollars because by the time you guys, because speculation is going to drive naira down and drive dollar up. So I will invest. It's an option investment for me. I will invest in dollars and have it so that by the time this thing keeps depreciating, my money is stored in value. So whenever I need to spend in naira, I change a few and do my spending. Did Emefiele think of this before coming out to this policy at this time? This is not going to prevent good inflation because they have enough dollars stored already. After many years of political conquest in this country, they don't think it's this one that you think is an emergency situation like this that they're looking for money to spend. No, they have dollars kept already, stored somewhere that they will just simply take control of election and do the normal issues. So this is not going to affect people that want to spend money for election. That's why you don't see them complain. I wish I had any of the time they complain about this issue. The police just say they are just laughing at this one. Are they joking? What is my business with all of this?
It's always a pleasure to have you.
So these are the issues. No longer thinking.
You are so right. Not helpful.
Once they told them security wise, so bandits collected 100 million, and you think he kept it in all this while. How are you going to track a bank? They'll okay, that doesn't mean they don't convert to dollars. They'll begin to buy high-end properties. It's as simple as that.
On my own.
Buy things, buy assets, fix assets that have value as well. So how do you track something that they do through legitimate means? Like, legitimate in the sense that you have people that call themselves negotiators across the country. That's the number of people that live in the cities. And so there are these people that, so the people that are organizing these kidnappings are not living in the forest. Some of the kidnappers themselves live normal lives in the city. You have a neighbor, you don't know you don't know what he does, you don't know. Okay, when I was opening my account, did I write kidnapper then?
What about that John something that was my SI?
Thank you.
Yes, come.
So if I'm a kidnapper, for example, and I have 50 million in my house from process of crime, and you take it off my deposit and I change the fee to dollars and bring the money to my account, will you arrest me for bringing it? Going to question where I got the money or how? So how does this stop insecurity? So they bought the NIN. Everyone should put the NIN and update your dollar value. It's going to be used to track security.
No, before NIN,
BVN. Now they said the NIN was one bought in the heat of insecurity. The investor minister Panjami to the National Assembly and asked him a question about insecurity. Instead of saying, I don't know what to do, he said, let us do the NIN. The first NIN on everybody, it was after then that Abuja Kaduna have police. After that NIN that we are having to alert now, that everybody's into panic right now. These measures don't work. Government should better get serious and be sincere. It's no sincerity. So every scheme is designed to cream off on the side. So I'm asking Nigerians, asking Godwin Emefiele, the governor of Syria, what is the cost of this transition from one particular color to another color?
That's a good question. So Emefiele, the CBN governor, should be able to tell us.
Yes, we should ask him what's the cost. That's my interest. How much will it cost Nigeria to carry out this? And are we ready for that? We're not ready for any expenses that are unnecessary, that will create hard crisis, that will create economic turmoil. This will send the naira tumbling. It will create unmitigated crisis that might put out of control. I hope the security agencies are actually paying attention to this issue. But there are people that are suffering already, that are struggling to pay up in banks, to change their monies because they don't want to lose it. Are we going to be able to contain the rage? Please, look, if people are hungry, don't add to their body. People should think, so.
Thank you so much, Matt. It's always a pleasure to listen to you.
Thank you very much.
Inside Nigeria.
Thank you
very much. Look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you so much. Well, viewers, as well, come to the end of today's Inside Nigeria on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Ogobo, and here's wishing you a beautiful weekend. Don't forget, security is everybody's business. Stay safe. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.